Okay, here's my method of cloning kratom as fast as I can teach it. I went from 3 plants to well over 100 in a very short matter of time, so hopefully this works for you. I start with medium that is well saturated. I pour water in it with no holes in the bottom, and after it is well saturated, I cut it and allow it to drain off completely. Once that is done, I get a fresh cut off of the plant and immediately snap the leaves off of it. When it's fresh, they snap off very easily. You don't want to leave anything left on here, because in the course of 2 weeks in this growing chamber you're about to make, they will mold. So you want to make sure all that's off of there, along with the leaf petals that grow at each node. So you take your cutting, and this method works for me the best. I use a sterile scalpel blade. You can use anything sharp. Maybe you want to dip it in hydrogen peroxide or rubbing alcohol. I never keep the same tip on there, just I don't know why, I never do. So I always go at an angle like this. It doesn't really matter because I'm going to scrape it in the end. So at this node, I do not go at the leaves. I go this way, and you want to scrape through the outer layer of the plant itself, just like that on both sides. And then when that's exposed, make a fresh cut through that, if you can. All right, there we go. Dip it in water again. Any type of rooting hormone or powder worked for me. Gel did not work for me, so I just stick with any old basic powder. And then I go at least, I'm going to plant it up to at least here, so you want to leave a little bit left over. I also leave an extra node just in case this tends to have root rot. So you want to poke your hole in there, stick that in nice, put that in there. This is way too much vegetation for this clone to sustain, so take any type of scissors and cut off a large portion of these leaves. Okay, after that, you're going to want to make sure it's a little snug, but not too snug. I always add water to the edges to allow it to go against it. As you can see, it's draining out the bottom. Okay, now here's a critical step. I make a lid and put a cut in the top of it and use packing tape to go over it. You'll see this step in just a second. But you're going to want to take your medium cup and allow that to go over. Just like that. I use packing tape because it works a hell of a lot better than Scotch tape. Okay, once that's around, just make sure that there's zero air allowed to get in there. This takes 3 cups per plant. There is another method where I use 2 cups in a large baggie, but this works best for me. Okay, now that you think you're set now, but the most critical step that I found in keeping these bad boys alive, which is very critical, is at least once every 24 hours or 48 hours, you're going to want to lift this up and blow into it. Just like that. You can see that there's condensation built up on there, but it pushed carbon dioxide through the soil medium out the bottom. You're going to want to immediately put this on there and make sure it's snug. You don't want fresh air getting in there. You want this to be contained with fresh carbon dioxide from your breath. I noticed that when I first started doing this, they sagged, and I gave it a fresher breath air, and within an hour it perked right back up. So continuing to do that every day for at least 2 weeks, you'll start to get growth. Now this one I did on, I took the cut on 5/17. I showed visible roots on 6/18 against the cup. As you can see, there's some decent roots showing. This isn't final for it. Now you think you can just take the top off and it's good to go. It is not. As it sits right now, it is in very high humidity. If you take this lid off and think it'll grow, it'll immediately start to sag and die. The best way that I found to harden these off to open air is wait until it rains outside. As soon as it starts to rain out, you just take the top off and put it in indirect sunlight. It cannot get direct sunlight, and allow it to harden off as the humidity changes with your outdoor environment. And after that, you just got to keep an eye on it. Make sure the soil never dries out. Kratom loves water. It has to stay damp. As soon as it starts to dry out, roots will die. So if you have any questions, let me know. But this success has worked. It's amazing success rate I've had from these. I went from 3 to about 150 in a matter of 2 months. So I hope this method works for you. And if you have any questions, let me know.